just going to do a little introduction that says who I am, who you are, and why we're here. The tape gets lost. We keep finding it and we didn't know exactly what was going on. My name is Day Johnson. I'm interviewing Miss Lela Chandler for the African American Oral History Project. I'm interviewing her at the Rainbow Reunion at Cedar Ridge on August 20th, 2006. And thank you very much for agreeing to interview Miss Chandler. Now, can you please state your full name?
Lela Chandler-Curtis.
And how do you spell your first name?
Lela.
And your last name?
Chandler-Curtis. Curtis.
Now, do you have a middle name?
Marie. Yes.
What is your date and place of birth?
January 19th, 1943, and I was born in Lowell, Ohio, at home.
And where is Lowell, Ohio located?
Lowell, okay, Rainbow/Cedar Ridge is considered rural Lowell. Lowell is located on Route 60, about 3 miles west of where we're located right now.
And when did you move to this area?
I was born here.
Oh, so you were born in Lowell?
No, I was born in a house straight across the road from this schoolyard. And the reason why I said Lowell is because this is considered rural Lowell. The address has always been RFD, Lowell, Ohio.
So you were born in a house just across the road?
Right across the road, yes.
And who are your parents?
Dewey and Alpha Chandler.
And what was your mother's maiden name?
Chandler.
She's a Chandler married.
Yes.
Do you know when they were born?
My dad was born May 28th of 1898.
And how about your mother?
My mom was born December 25th, 1907.
And did your parents own the land that you were born at?
Yes.
And how long had the land been in the family?
Mom and Dad bought it to build their home on it, probably 3 to 4 years after they were married.
And do you know where your parents were born?
Both in this area. Yes.
And how about your grandparents on your father's side? Do you know who they were?
Let me see. I don't want to get them confused because my mom's dad and my father's dad were brothers. They were first cousins. My mom and dad were first cousins.
Okay.
I know this is unheard of nowadays and it's frowned upon, but at that time, they ran away and got married. Very romantic. And my dad's mother's name was Josephine and Chandler, and I get my two grandfathers' names mixed up. I know I have a Joshua, and I can't remember the other one's name.
Now you say they ran away to get married. Why did they run away?
Because my father's mother frowned upon it, and so they ran away to Pennsylvania, to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and got married.
Who were they married by, do you know?
I have no idea.
So they ran away, and what happened after they ran away to get married? What did they do?
They got married, and then they moved to Parkersburg, West Virginia. That's where they started their married life together. And then they came back to buy the land across the road and proceeded to build a home there.
Were relations ever repaired between your...
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So you were born after they brought the house here.
Mhm.
Do you know how they met? Like just by being cousins, or do you know how the love affair began?
N- I think it was, they were right here in the neighborhood. Mom, my mother lived probably a mile that way, and Daddy lived maybe a half a mile that way. So they were really neighbors, and they really grew up together. And Mom never talked about how they met. I mean, how they got together, or any of the romance. I think it's just so romantic. But anyway, Mom never talked about that too much. And Daddy died when I was 9, so I didn't get a chance to question him much about it.
Now, do you know what did he die from?
He had colorectal cancer. In those days, it was like there wasn't much hype about it. He got sick, went to the hospital, they sent him home, and this was in June, and in August he died.
How about your mother? Is she still living, or when did she pass?
She died in January of '89. She was 83 when she died.
Now, where are your parents buried?
At Rainbow Cemetery. And they're resting side by side there. And which Rainbow Cemetery is an old cemetery that where my dad's parents are both buried there. So
Do you know where your mom's parents are buried?
yes, they're buried in the cemetery across the river, directly across the river, in Devola. Can't remember the name of the cemetery, but it's directly across the. I don't know how that happened, but it was like Mother's family is over there and Daddy's family's over here, but Mom and Dad are together there.
So, do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters. And I'm the youngest. I have a twin brother.
Oh, you have a twin brother?
Yes,
What's his name?
Leland. And then I have a brother that's 3 years older than I am. And all my sisters are older. It was like 2 sets of kids.
So, what was it like growing up with a twin brother?
We didn't get along at all. He considered me the worst pest ever was, because I was kind of sickly when I was, and he considered me a pest. He wanted to do the boys' things. I wanted to do the boys' things, but, just really wasn't able to. So,
So, since your sisters were so much older, did you have much interaction? What kind of interaction did you have with your older sisters?
them telling me what to do, do your chores.
How much older were?
Let's see. By the time my father died, they were all teenagers. My oldest sister was married and had a child, and the other 2 were teenagers, older teenagers. So they, it's just better get your work done before Mom gets home.
And you're talking about your chores. What kind of chores did you have around?
Oh, we had, when the garden came on, we picked produce. I can remember sitting on the porch, kitchen porch, with a wash tub full of green beans that had been picked the night before, and we had to string those beans and get them ready to be canned. It was terrible.
Would you ever get punished by your parents? What type of punishment would you receive for bad behavior?
I didn't have bad behavior. My brothers did. No, my mom was more or less the disciplinarian. My dad was this soft-spoken man that said, I can remember him saying to my brothers, "That's enough, boy," and that was enough. You know, he was a soft-spoken man, but he was a strong man. But my mom was the disciplinarian. You know, she would crack us if we needed it. My dad would put us away from the table if we acted up at the dinner table, because dinner was a very, very family-oriented thing. We had to be there, and it was family time.
So how did you guys eat dinner? Did you always eat all as a family?
Mm-hmm. Always, but it was it was just something that everyone looked forward to. Mom and Dad got home from work. Mom would fix dinner while we did the evening chores, and then we would all be together for dinner.
Now, growing up, what type of foods did you eat?
All our meat was processed at home. They butchered, processed the meat and everything at home. I can remember always having hot bread, you know, biscuits for breakfast, cornbread for dinner, homemade bread all through the week. Let's see. I can remember one thing, and that was my mom used to make stewed tomatoes for my dad for breakfast. And I never could understand why tomato, to me, well, to nobody would be a breakfast food, but it was something he liked, and it's something she did. So, but we had a lot of fresh produce. Mom canned everything. I remember beets used to be one of my favorite things, and I couldn't get enough of the beets that Mom canned, because she'd always put the vinegar and the spices with them. Let's see. Had big hearty meals, but we didn't have a TV, so there was no sitting in front of a TV and gaining weight. So, you know.
So you mentioned that both your mom and dad worked. What did your father do for a living?
Dad worked for the State Highway Department. Exactly what he did, I don't know. But I know that he was trimming trees and fell out of the tree one time. A line broke, a safety line broke. He fell out of a tree and broke his arm. I do remember that. And Mom was a domestic.
Where would she, do you know where the homes
Yeah.
she worked in were located?
She worked for two prominent families in Marietta. One was a lawyer, was Fogel, very well known in Marietta. She was there she started to work for them shortly before she became pregnant with my twin brother and I, and she worked through until I think she might have been 72 or something like that, and she was still doing day work there. Not every day, but working.
Was she allowed to bring you and your brother to work with her, or how did she?
She did. She did. We were contained to the basement because, I mean, they had this gorgeous big house that that I was just fascinated with. Every aspect of that house I was fascinated with, because she had sets of dishes for everything, you know. But we had to stay in the, pretty much in the basement. Mom did laundry down there, but we always had plenty to do. And but Mom stopped taking us to work. I don't know whether I should tell this or not,
Yes,
but one of the Fogel grandchildren came in one day, and he came down the stairs and said something to my mother about why do you have these monkeys down here? And after my mother gave him a good tongue lashing, we never went back to work with her again. And she did tell Mrs. Fogel about that. I don't know what came of it, but
Now, how old were you when this happened?
I think 4. But I remember it. I remember it because I went to high school with him, and I never forgot it.
Now, how would your mom and dad get to work every day?
Dad had a car, and Mom never drove until after Dad died. And then Donald Burke, who is one of the people in this neighborhood, taught my mom how to drive after my dad died. Dad had just purchased a brand new 51 Plymouth, and he died, and Mom didn't know how to drive.
Now, was it all paid for?
Yeah.
So how would your mom get to work before your father passed away?
They drove together. They rode together. Mom would go in at the same time Daddy went to work. He would drop her off and then pick her up. Yeah.
So who took care of you while your mom was at work?
The older sisters. That's what I said. They made us do everything. One of my sisters used to sit and read True Story magazines all the time and say, "Get this work done."
So you said you grew up right across the street. Where did
Yeah.
you go to school?
Here.
And where's here?
Oh, at this schoolhouse, at this one-room schoolhouse where we're sitting today.
And what's the name of the school?
Cedar Ridge.
And how long did you attend school here?
I think until the 4th grade.
And why did you stop attending school here in the
They were going to close it down, and we were transferred to a 2-room schoolhouse at Oak Grove.
What was the name of that school called?
Oak Grove Elementary, and that was my first experience of being in a mixed classroom setting, because all here were the black children, the colored children of that time, and that was my first experience.
So can you please describe a little what the rainbow community was like? Was it mostly white? Was it mixed? Was it colored? What was
This area around here was all colored. And once we got past the trestle by Rainbow Creek and started, I guess it would be north on that gravel road and south on that gravel road, that's where the white community came in. But in this area, it was all black.
What were some of the family names that lived in this area?
We had Dalton, Martini, of course Chandlers, Burks, Rushes, let me see. Did I say Dalton? Yes. I think that's about it. That's about it. Martin was another.
Now, in school, what subjects were taught?
Everything, reading, writing, arithmetic, the important things. We had Mrs. Wilson, Mrs. Gertrude Wilson was my teacher, and I thought she was one of the classiest ladies ever, but then I was 5. But everybody did the math and the reading and those classes.
Now, what was her ethnic background, the teacher's, Mrs. Wilson's?
She was black,
Where was she from?
Marietta. She drove a Model T Ford. Things like that you remember. It was black.
Was
A
she
black car.
married or single?
She was, I think she was widowed when she was teaching.
How old was she about?
Early 40s maybe.
So was she your teacher the whole time you attended school?
Yes.
here?
hmm
Do you know what happened to her after the school closed down?
I don't know whether she was teaching somewhere else or whether she retired. I'm not sure. But I did, see her from time to time in Marietta.
So when the school moved from across the street and you started to go to Grove, how did you get to school each day?
Bus. I was able to ride the bus. When I lived over there, across the road, I walked every day. We had a path through the weeds. It wasn't woods then, it was weeds. So
the woods are a new thing here?
yes, it's grown up quite a bit. The woods were kind of held at bay because where we came through to go to school was sometimes farmland, sometimes grazeland for the cattle and horses that we had. That property did belong to my dad and mom.
So on the property that belonged to your dad and mom, was there indoor plumbing or outdoor plumbing? What kind of plumbing did you have?
We had an outhouse. And I hated it because we had to share it with snakes sometimes and bees. I hated that. But it was part of country living and part of growing up where I did.
How old were you when you got indoor plumbing? Do you remember?
I never did. My mom, after I was married and left home, we all came back and put a bathroom in her house.
What year was that?
I don't know. It must have been early 60s.
How about electricity?
We had electricity, yes. My mom did all of her cooking on a wood/coal stove.
You mentioned just now that you were married. When did you get married?
In 1959.
What was your spouse's name?
Larry Curtis.
How did you and Mr. Curtis meet?
We went to school together.
High school?
High school.
Oh, okay. So, when did you start dating Mr. Curtis?
Oh, probably about a year before we got married. Yeah. Because I was only 16 when I got married. And I had to give up a year of school because I was pregnant. I had a child. And I went back and graduated, though.
Where did you graduate from?
Marietta High
What year?
in 60.
So you got married when you were 16. How did your parents feel about you getting married?
My dad was dad by then, but my mother, I will never forget her disappointment. She never said, "I'm disappointed in you," but I could feel it, and the closest thing she ever said to me to let me know that I had disappointed her was, I had such high hopes.
Where were you married?
In Marietta. But, yeah, we got married in Marietta, a little church on 2nd Street. The preacher's name was Reverend Gilmer. He was he was a nice man, a very, very nice man. And that was before the days of counseling before marriage, but he did ask us if we were sure. And of course we were sure. There was a baby on the way. So.
Who was in attendance at your wedding?
My mom his sister, and a couple of close friends.
And how old was your husband when you got married?
18.
You just mentioned when was your first child born?
We got married in April and he was born in August.
What was his name?
David,
And what year was he born?
in 59.
59. Do you have any other children?
I have 7 other children.
Oh wow, can you please tell us their names?
Okay, this is David, Lisa, Melissa, Mark, Patrick, Michelle, Christina, and Aaron.
And are they all still living?
Yes,
And is your husband still living?
yes,
Are you still married?
no.
When were you divorced?
And I don't know, it's been several years ago. We separated. We were separated for several years. In fact, I just claimed it myself as a single mom. But we were separated for several years, and then the divorce came about, but we're friends.
And how old is your youngest child?
She will be 30 in October.
So all your children are now grown.
Yes, they are.
When your kids were growing up, what occupation were you involved in?
My first several things. I was a lab technician, which I didn't like. Let's see. I taught Head Start for 8 years, which was one of my favorite things. Then I worked in a factory for 11 years because of the money. I had to give up the job that I really, really liked because kids were getting older, and I had to get a job that paid more money. So I worked we moved to Zanesville, Ohio, and I worked in a factory for 11 years.
What year did you move to Zanesville?
I'm 78.
And what factory did you work in?
Brockway Glass.
What did you do in the factory?
It made bottles. Okay. What my job, when I found out what I was best suited for, was making the boxes to pack the bottles.
And do you work currently?
Yes,
Where do you work currently?
I work for Franklin County Board of MRDD.
What is MR?
Mentally retarded, developmentally disabled people. Worked in that field for 15 years now.
And what do you do?
I'm a habilitation specialist. I always have trouble with that word. But anyway, what I do, I work in a living skills center. What I do is we work with the severe, profound, mentally retarded people to teach them just basic living skills to enhance their independence, their quality of life.
Now you mentioned when you gave up your job in a factory, you gave up a job that you really loved. What was the job that you really loved?
The Head Start teacher. I love that. But to be able to take care of the kids, I had to give it up.
Now, what is your earliest personal memory that you have growing up of your family?
I think I might have been 2.5. My sister, one of my older sisters, had this gorgeous boyfriend that was in the Army, and we walked to church every Sunday. And he was there. He came on a Sunday morning and had breakfast with us, and then we were going to walk to church. And I had this cute little bonnet and winter coat. It was blue. And he put me on his shoulders and carried me to church. And I think I might have been 2.5, and that was one of my best memories because he was so handsome.
So you just were talking about your blue bonnet and dress.
Yes.
How did you get most of your clothing growing up?
Two ways. Either Mama ordered it from a catalog, and I'm not sure whether it was Sears or Montgomery & Ward's. And then there was a little store in Lowell called Ricker's General Store. And we used to go there to get shoes and winter coats. Mom made a lot of our clothes. So.
And growing up, was there a way for you to make money from chores and different things?
I started babysitting when I was 12. I worked for this a family in Marietta. They have 5 kids, and I took care of the kids and did all the housework for $12 a week. But that bought my school clothes.
And you were 12. How old were the kids you were watching?
The oldest one was 7, I think.
So when would you have time to take care of the kids if you were going to school?
Well, that was my summer. It was summer only. Now, when I was in school, I had 2 brothers to take care of. Mom worked 2 jobs, so I kind of had to step in and do the housework and the laundry and stuff for them.
Even though you were the youngest, you still had to take care of your older brothers?
My brothers couldn't do anything. They probably would have starved.
And you were talking about how he walked to church. What church did you attend growing up?
It was a little Methodist church right down at the bottom of the hill, probably maybe a half a mile or so from the house across the road. It was a Wesleyan Methodist church. My dad was a deacon. We had a preacher that traveled in for the Sunday services.
Do you remember his name?
Yes. The last name was Grant. I can't remember the first name, but he had a wife and a daughter named Marilyn, and Marilyn was my age, and we used to play together because they would come to our house for dinner after church services because they did travel in.
Where were they traveling from?
I'm not quite sure. I'm really not quite sure.
Did the church have a name?
Cedar Ridge Wesleyan Methodist, yes.
And what was the population of the church like?
It was, I think, we might have had 20 on a good day.
Was most of the congregation people of color?
Yes, community.
Were there other churches around this area when you were growing up?
I'm sure there were. There probably were white churches, but this was our church.
Growing up, what was a date like? When were you allowed to date growing up?
My first date, was I was a freshman, and a junior asked me to go to the prom, to the junior prom, and my mom let me go because she knew that he was gay.
She knew he was what?
Gay.
How did she know that?
Because it was a rumor. She knew her daughter would be safe. This is just really strange, me telling these things, but.
So he didn't try anything?
Oh no. She knew I would be safe for that.
No.
And I had the best time ever.
Was the rumor ever confirmed?
Oh, I knew it. You know, I think everybody did.
So what was going to the prom like as a freshman?
Well, after I talked my mother into buying me a dress, she said at first I couldn't go because there was no money for a dress. And then 2 days before the prom, I got home from school and there was the dress in a box on the bed. She'd picked it out, but it was gorgeous, and it was wonderful. My date was a good dancer. He was a perfect gentleman, and so it was wonderful. Yes, it was kind of like a salmon colored with a lot of chiffon, and the bodice, it had wide straps across the shoulder, and the bodice had some um silver metallic worked into it, and then it had a chiffon kind of draped down the back. It was beautiful.
Where did you buy the dress from?
From a store on Front Street in Marietta called Jean Frocks.
Do you remember, did you know how much it cost?
Yes, $19. And that was expensive at that time.
Now, how did you get to the prom?
He picked me up.
In a car?
Yes.
Do you remember what the car was?
No, I don't remember that. It was a Buick, but I don't know what year.
So, what were some of your other dates that weren't quite so extravagant or for special occasions like?
There was one that sticks out in my mind. I went to a Halloween party with Henry Burke. And it was such fun because he was the only black guy in the scout troop. It was his scout troop. And he was the only black guy in the group, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to fit in, but we had a great time.
How old were you?
That was before the prom. I might have been 13, but his uncle was providing transportation, so my mom knew it was okay.
So, what were some of the other things you did for fun growing up?
The guy I married and I used to get in dance contests all the time, and we won a lot.
Where were these dance contests held?
Okay, there were dances held like at the Betsy Mills Club and at the Y, and we would go.
What was the Betsy Mills Club?
It was like a girls' club, but they had a big, beautiful gym where we got a lot of, high school could hold dances.
Now, were these dances integrated, mixed?
Pretty much.
And what were some of the things you won in these contests?
Just recognition. It was like, there's Larry and Lela again. You know? Yeah.
So how did you know? Did you know that you wanted to marry him despite, being pregnant? How did you know that you were in love with him?
I didn't. It was it was like the right thing to do. I was in love as much as a 16-year-old pregnant person could be. Okay.
Growing up, how did you learn about your family's history?
Just listening to my mother talk. I used to ask her questions all the time, and I've always been fascinated by it. And then when I was when I went to college, I took a course on something about history, and in genealogy, and I got kind of fascinated in that. But that's about it. Just word of mouth more than anything.
Do you remember any of the stories she would tell you or different things like that when she was talking about your family's history?
She told me, and I can't remember, because after Daddy died, Mom worked 2 jobs, and she didn't have a whole lot of time to sit and chit chat. But and then as she grew older, it wasn't what she really couldn't remember a whole lot. There was a pesky fly, but she did tell me that there was a person on her side of the family whose name was Reuben that was a slave. I also know that there was Cherokee Indian in my family, and that my, I don't know how many greats it is, but a great grandmother came over from Ireland. So, I just got bits and pieces here and there.
Now, did she tell you anything about Reuben other than him being a slave? Did she tell you anything else about him?
No, that was it. Because I think that's all she knew.
Growing up, did you ever hear anything else about slavery?
I've always been fascinated with slavery. I don't know, I was in for a rude awakening when I went to Oak Grove. you know? And then, of course, in history books, it was lightly mentioned. And so I had a real fascination for it.
So you mentioned, what was it like going to school in Oak Grove? Did you experience racism and discrimination
Oh,
and prejudice?
it was horrible. It was horrible.
What were some of the things that you mentioned?
We were called names. There was only two of us, my twin brother and I. And I think Pat, she was younger. Pat Burke, Pat Singer. She was younger, and I don't know whether it affected her as badly as it did my brother and I, but we were called names. We were kind of ostracized, aside. It was always like we had to prove ourselves. If we were invited, like if I was invited to play sorry with a certain group, then I better be good. It was always, and Marietta as a whole was pretty prejudiced. We only were able to swim once a month in the municipal pool. We had our day.
Remember what day that was?
It was usually on a Monday. And skating was the same thing. We got the skating rink once a month.
Once a month?
Once a month, yes.
What skating rink was this?
It still stands in Marietta. It's on the fairgrounds. I think it was the Marietta roller rink.
How about going to the movies?
I don't think there was a problem with that.
Now, where would you go to the movies?
There was two movies in Marietta. And there was no problem going to the movies. I know that because my dad was on the school board, and when he had his school board meetings, Mom and my brothers and I would go to the movies. And that was our out.
What were the names of the theaters?
I don't remember. I do not remember at all.
Do you remember some of the movies you saw growing up at the theater?
I remember one was Felix the Cat. And I loved it so much that we had a projector. And my dad bought that little cartoon for me because I loved it so much. I got that for a Christmas present one year.
And you mentioned your dad being on the school board?
Yes.
How long did he serve on the school board?
I think many years. In fact, he was instrumental in getting a lease for this building signed for 99 years so that we can come here and have the homecomings.
Do you know how long this schoolhouse has been around?
I have no idea.
Was your dad the only person of color that served on the school board during that time?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So, how did he see his position on the school board? Do you know?
He was very effective. Like I said, my dad was a soft-spoken man, but he was a strong man. And for example, I know he went to school with me he came to school with me one day because the teacher had been smacking my fingers. I'm left-handed. And she'd been smacking my fingers because she didn't want me to be left-handed. And that was something else back, 55 years ago or more. And he came to school and said, "Don't touch my daughter again, because if she wants to be left-handed, she will be left-handed." So
Do you remember what teacher this was?
it was Miss Wilson.
Now, going to Marietta, what were most of your teachers
um,
when you went to school?
and there were no black teachers at all, none.
How were you treated by the teachers down?
Some good, some indifferent, and some were really just rude.
How so?
It was like I didn't exist, you know, and so that caused me to pull back into myself, and I did a lot of that.
Now, you talked about going back to college. When did you go back to college?
In 90,
And where did you go?
I went to. I had been taking classes a lot. I took some classes at Marietta College. I took some classes at OU. That's why I was like, wow, OU's being because, and then the area, Muskingum Area Technical College in Zanesville is where I got a 2-year degree there.
And what did you get your degree in?
And it had to do with mental health, with mental retardation, things that follow the road that I'm taking now.
Now, just to back up a little bit, when you said you got married, when you got married, where did you and your husband live?
When we first got married, we lived with his family
And where did his family live?
in Marietta. His mother was dead, but his sister and her husband. No, it was 2 sisters and 1 sister's husband and 3 kids lived in the house. And we had our bedroom, but I mean, we were crowded and
And how long did you live with his family?
not very long, because I said we had to have our own place. I couldn't. Well, the house, there was bugs and rats in the house, and I was determined I would not bring a baby into that house. It's not been easy, but anyway, yeah. And so we got our own little place, and
Where was this little place that you got?
it was on the west side in Marietta. Cute little 1-bedroom. It was our house.
And how long did you guys live there?
Maybe about a year.
And where did you guys move after that?
In with my mom.
And how long did you live with your mom?
I was indefinitely, and then
So where were most of your kids born?
while I was living with my mom,
And were they born at home or in a hospital?
I had one born at home.
Did the doctor, was the doctor in attendance? Can you please describe that a little bit?
That was horrible. No, really. I didn't. It was back labor. I did not know that I was really in labor. It was my 3rd daughter, and she was. And I watched the I guess Johnny Carson show. Went to clean the kitchen. And then I realized that I was in labor, so I told my mom. She called the doctor. The doctor talked to her over the phone, and literally she delivered Michelle. Mrs. Burke, Tina's mom, was in attendance when Michelle was born, because Mom called her and she came down. And at the instant Michelle was born, the ambulance driver walked in the door.
And Michelle was your what child?
She was my sixth.
So all the rest of them before that were born in
Hospital.
What hospital were they born?
Marion Memorial.
Um, so you mentioned not having a TV growing up. What about the radio?
We had a radio. Yes, and every Saturday, I can remember every Saturday night, we would listen to some country and western music show from Wheeling, West Virginia. And that was one of my dad's big things. And I used to listen to the Shadow Knows and the Lone Ranger and Sky King, things like that on the radio.
You just mentioned listening to a country music radio program out of Wheeling. What role did music play in your family growing up?
My dad played the violin. Music was I was always singing and always reading. So, it was a big part for me.
Where did you sing?
Oh, I sang to myself.
Were you involved in choirs or anything?
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, in church, when I joined church in Marietta as I got older, I sang in the choir there, but nothing much.
Currently, what church are you attending?
I'm not right now. And
where are you living currently?
In Columbus.
How long have you lived in Columbus?
15 years.
Do you know how your dad learned to play the violin?
No, I don't.
Now, was he able to earn money playing,
No, it was just for entertainment.
So, in what kind of events would he play the violin?
Daddy, I can't remember him playing anywhere except for us. So.
Like when? After dinner?
Yeah.
So explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, he used to just get the old violin out and we would sing mostly church songs.
Do you remember any of those songs?
Yeah, I do. I remember Precious Lord, which is one of my favorites. And let's see, what are some of the others? Oh, his favorite was In the Garden. And so my brothers didn't care too much for that, but I enjoyed it.
Growing up, did you ever hear about the Underground Railroad?
Only what I read.
And where would you read most of this?
Well, definitely not in the history books. I just...
So what type of history did you learn?
We had Ohio history, we had American history, but there was not a whole lot of anything about slavery or, the Civil War was there, but it didn't dig. The history wasn't deep to let us know what was really going on.
In Ohio history, what did you hear about? Did you ever hear about people of color in Ohio history?
Yeah, they talked about some of the Cincinnati, them crossing the river at Cincinnati and coming, north, things like that.
And this was in what grade would you hear?
Eighth, this Ohio history, and then there was this huge house and is a mansion in Marietta that was part of the Underground Railroad. Now I think it's a nursing home, but I dug up everything I could figure about that because it did fascinate me knowing that there was something right there. And my grandmother, grandmother on my father's side was in that nursing home, you know, before she passed. So.
And when did you learn about this mansion? Was it something that you heard growing up, or is it something that you learned?
I heard growing up, yeah. It's called the Anchorage.
And where is that located?
On the west side of Marietta, on Lancaster, is it Lancaster Street? Putnam Street, Marietta. In fact, I think the street dead ends into this huge, beautiful old home.
And do you know about the Underground Railroad operators that work there or live there?
No.
You mentioned your father's illness, cancer. Were there any other illnesses that family members experienced growing up that you remember?
No, we were pretty healthy. I can remember one time my brother getting hold of a cigar and getting terribly sick. And my dad, it was so funny because my dad wanted to know, ask him what was wrong with him, and he said that he'd eaten a green apple, and his dad said, "No, you don't smoke green apples." You know, it was funny just to know how intelligent and how you can't get over on my dad.
Now, which brother was this?
That was my twin brother.
How old was he?
I think about 9.
Which cigars was he smoking?
We would have the homecoming. We would come over here and just play around on the week after the homecoming, before they would come in and clean up the grounds. We would just come over here and play around and see what we could find. Sometimes we found change, sometimes, just see what we could find. And he found a whole cigar, lit it up and smoked it. We had to carry him home.
So your family was pretty healthy, but
Yes.
what kind of health care was available for you in this community?
I know that it was not, I don't want to say neglected, I don't want to say overlooked, but unless it was an emergency, there was none. We had to go clear to Marietta to a doctor or a hospital. So it was more or less had to be an emergency before we were seen.
Now, were there any other people that you could see beside the doctors in Marietta that helped with healthcare within the community?
No, we had moms and dads.
Do you remember how they would treat some of the illnesses that you'd have growing up, like the colds and the sniffles?
Oh, I remember. I was an asthmatic when I was a child, and my mom used to make this onion poultice to put on my chest, and then she would do the onion tea thing that would make me drink it, but the onion poultice on my chest, and I stunk.
Now, would you have to wear that around?
Yes. No, only at night. Only at night.
Were there any other little home remedies that you remember?
Let's see. I really can't think of anything else, but I know. My mom used to make whiskey, honey, and lemon cough medicine. We didn't go buy cough medicine. It was made up, and it worked. It really worked.
Now, did you use any of these remedies on your kids?
Yes. I couldn't put them through the onions. But yes, I did do the touch of whiskey, lemon, and honey for them. Yeah, I did. And let's see.